Ekabo Alafia Ekasan family. It's time for Second Sundays. Our time to spend together as a family, talking about African spirituality and how to empower ourselves as we walk towards our destiny. Ekabo. Drop a little greeting. Let me know that you're with me. Welcome back if you were with us this morning for prayer as well. Hit those hearts. Blessings, William Kasao. Too blessed to be stressed. Yes, I'm happy to have you back. Blessings, SRC. Welcome, Mango Chutney. Good to have you in the building. Blessings. Welcome back, Betsy. I saw you with us earlier. Bernice, good to have you back. Christina, happy Sunday. Welcome to Second Sundays. Hey, we are family. Kaniqua, blessings. Good to have you with us. Natasha, Mama Earth, greetings to you. Kahisa, blessings. Andrea, hey fam. Lisa, blessings to you. Good to have you with us. Imani, peace and blessings to you. Leo Queen, we back and better. I love it. Yes, always getting better every minute. Hey, as we walk, as we climb towards our destiny, Natasha and Grace, good to have y'all with us. Hi, sweetie. Blessings, Denise. Happy Sunday to you. Hey, we ready. Hey, we're gonna get it started. Get our afternoon started to maximize our time. Welcome. Ekabo, Ekasan. That means good afternoon. Shout out to my Yoruba students. I know y'all know that. Such a pleasure and a blessing. You know, I'm always honored, humbled, and happy, glad to be with each of you in the land of the living, enjoying this beautiful Sunday. It's a little frigid, but the sun is shining and it's beautiful, and I'm just grateful always to get to be with you. If you are new to the family, Ekabo, I am your favorite scholar priestess, Iya Funlayo, PhD, and this is Second Sundays, where we get together as a family and discuss a topic in African spirituality once a month. And I am happy to be taking your questions today. This is an FAQ day. I'm going to be answering some of the most frequently asked questions about African spirituality, a few that came to my mind when I thought about the things people ask about a lot and that you may be wondering about, especially if you're new. And if you have questions right now that you want to drop, you are welcome to do that. And I will be coming to answer those questions that you all drop. Thank you, Imani, for that liking. Yes, please, y'all like, share, make a comment. Let me know that you're with me. Blessings. Another Imani, I love that. We are Egbe. When you share a name with someone, you know, they say that the one who, blessings Vani, the one who is younger has to pay the one who is older, because you are using my name, so you have to pay me. So if any of you are Funlayo or Fumilayo and you are younger than me, bring my money, yo. Yeah, it's like a sweet little homage to elderhood that when people share a name, they share energy. Blessings to you, Orlando. Good to have you with us. Yes, and I see your greeting, Grace. Blessings. So, you know how we like to start off when we're together. I want us to just take a few deep breaths to just bring ourselves present into this space and to give thanks for this time together. So come on with me. Just gently close your eyes for a moment. Let's take 3 nice deep cleansing breaths in through our noses, out through our mouths. 1, 2, and 3. If you can move any way that feels right and good for you to move in this moment. My shoulders feel like I need a little heart opening. We give thanks and praise to Olodumare, to the ancestors, to our Orisa, and to all divine beings. We are grateful to be together once again as a family to discuss African spirituality, to uplift our ancestral ways. And we pray, as always, for each Ori to get exactly what is meant for it at this time. Ashe, 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 oh. Iba Eshu, ashe, ashe, ashe. Praying always for everybody to get exactly what is meant for them. Nubia, good to have you. Boato, Mami, Keisha, blessings. Welcome back, Tanya. Blessings, 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 blessings. Welcome. Yes, Natasha, run me my coins. So if y'all using my name, run those coins, right? Ashe. Imani says she gonna be 58. So our other sister Imani, if you are younger than 58, hey, you will have. It's time to send those love offerings. I love it. I love it. I love it. So as promised, we're going to be diving into some of your most frequently asked questions today. And of course, to get us started off, a fitting question that people often ask and that you may be wondering if you are new to African spirituality is, how do you get started in and with African spirituality? Right? And here's something, you might be surprised at what I'm going to say, because of course I could tell you that you should go get my ebook and learn the prayer. I could tell you that, and I will tell you that. And of course I could tell you that you should read this book or that book or learn this thing or that thing. And I will tell you that too. But the most important thing that I'm going to tell you as far as getting started with African spirituality, blessings, Crystal, good to see you, is to realize, that spirituality, as one of my mentors, Jacob Olupona, reminds us in his scholarly work, spirituality, religion, whatever terms we're going to use for it, is an experiential thing. Right? It's not an intellectual enterprise. We don't get involved with spirituality to theorize about it, although some of us enjoy doing that, right? But that's not its primary purpose. Its primary purpose is, as if you've been with me, you already know what I'm about to say, is to make our lives better, right? To give us deeper points of connection, first with ourselves, and then with the environment and our community, and then with the greater world, right? So the key word here is connection. Although it is important to learn, and one of the reasons why we feel so stuck on this idea of learning is for two reasons. A, because of course we've been cut off, many of us here in the diaspora, from our ancestral knowledge. And so yes, there are things that we need to learn, that we need to take in, right? But we also are trained in this American society to kind of, to put intellectual knowledge at the top of everything else. And so we get stuck on this idea of learning and knowing rather than feeling, being, and doing, right? And so as we talk about how you get started, one of the ways that you get started in African spirituality is by shifting your mindset, right? From one of I need to learn and know everything to what can I do? In what ways can I shift my being, right? What do I need? How do I need to connect? How can I connect better? Whether that be, so of course, the first point is connecting with our ancestors. Shout out to all of you who have your ancestral practices going, right? Starting off connecting with our ancestors. And that's as simple as calling their names, right? Even before we get to building an altar, before we get to doing all of that, call their names. You are the first altar, as my dear friend, the Afro Mystic, always reminds us as she teaches about hoodoo. We are the first altar. So whatever, if you just call your ancestors' names, if you have that vibration, if you don't know names, right? I always tell you, there's always a way. If you don't know names, to all of my ancestors whose names I do not know, right? Even if you don't know a single name, and trust through various means, things will come. But opening oneself to the experience, right? That is really one of the biggest keys in coming to walk down this path, to recognize that, yes, again, there is teaching, there is learning. I'm a teacher. I love to, impart knowledge, but y'all know that even more than imparting knowledge or, and coupled with it, I love to make you feel something, right? I love to see those tears well up. I love to make you laugh. I love to make you experience something while we're together and not just take the knowledge, right? And so that's the key as far as, getting started down this path. Blessings to you, Chrisma. Blessings. Good to have you with us. All right. That's the key to getting started, opening yourself to the experience. And then, of course, on a very practical level, prayer, right, is the first way that we connect with any spiritual system, whether we're talking, Buddhism, Hinduism, Christianity, Ifa, whatever system we're talking about, Islam, right? We connect through prayer. We connect through supplication, through giving thanks, through recognizing those entities and energies that are working with us. So, of course, I'm going to tell you that if you don't have my ebook, please go and get it, right? Learn the Mojuba prayer. That's like a very good entry, not only into learning the prayer itself, but also into understanding the cosmology, right? As far as getting some of that knowledge as well. What is it that we believe in? Who is it that we're praying to? What is it that we're praying for? Right? And if you have it, if you have downloaded it, make sure you're using it. Make sure you're learning, right? Learning from it. Learn to say it, right? And embody that. Because again, it's in the doing and the practice that we then create the experience for ourselves that really opens us up to connection with the divine, which is really what this is all about. It's not just about learning about them. We open ourselves up. We even open ourselves up to the point of allowing them, some of us who, allowing them to take over our very bodies at times, right? So this ain't just about intellectual knowledge, right? We're creating relationships, we're creating connections, we're creating bonds, not only with the entities and the spirits, but also with each other, right? Blessings, Abra. Yes, and Natasha, thank you for, if you are, for more about this and more about Ifa-Orisa specifically and how to get, all the different nuances of this system, check out that intro to Ifa-Orisa 101 video. Now, over 40,000 views. Blessings to all of you who have watched it and who have shared it and who have gone back and watched it again. All right. So another question that I get asked frequently is Ifa-Orisa or is Ifa or Orisa the only African spiritual system? And of course, the answer to that is no. There are more than 3,000 different ethnic groups on the continent of Africa, right? And each of those groups, as I explained in that intro video, so I'm not going to get super deep with it, but just to give you like a 2-minute to this, right? Each of those groups had and has their own way of seeing the divine, and each group has their own spiritual system. Some of them have remained more intact than others, right? Especially when we look at the incursions of Islam, Christianity, European colonialism and all of these things, Arab colonialism, all of these things, that have happened over the life of the continent of Africa have meant that some of those systems are no longer intact. Right. And so, the Orisa, the reason why we hear the most about the Orisa system specifically and especially in the diaspora has to do with historical processes like everything else in the world that brought a lot of Yoruba people here at a particular point in time, right, where the system was able to be shifted and changed in ways, blended with other systems, and where we were able to adapt it, right? Other systems came as well, but not with the same amount of numbers as Yoruba people, right? And the Yoruba system itself, the Ifa-Orisa system that comes from Yoruba culture, because it is very structured and hierarchical in its own ways, that also lends to it being able to survive challenges and be passed down, etc. But of course, we know that there are many different ways of practicing even within this one tradition, and that has always been the case. When we look at every other tradition, is the same, right? There's different forms of Buddhism, there's different forms of Christianity, there's different forms of Islam, there's different forms of Hinduism, right? There's different forms of every faith, every tradition, because there are billions of people on earth. Everybody ain't gonna do everything the same, right? Even if we're doing the same thing or we're working towards the same goal, doesn't mean we're gonna do it the same way. So definitely not the only system. And a few other systems that are prominent in the Americas include Congo-based systems, right, which have turned into traditions like Palo, right? We have systems from Ghana, from the Akan, right, that still are practiced here. We have Senegalese system of Eji, which is still practiced. And of course, we have all of our diaspora systems. We have our Hoodoo, we have our Vodou, we have our Candomblé, we have all of these systems that we have our Black church, come on somebody, because that's Hoodoo embodied, right, that have taken vestiges of these systems, right, and transformed them and preserved them in new and different practices, right, that kept, again, the feeling, the ethos. It's not about just what's on the surface of what's being done, but really the feeling and the connection to the divine, which is what this is all about to start with, right? That's what we're trying to do. We're not just trying to think about stuff. We're trying to connect, right? Blessings, Wahid. Blessings, Carrie. Blessings to you, Telly. Yes, Red Tail. Blessings to you. Good to have you with us, right? We trying to connect. We not just, it's not just, as we started off saying, it's not just an intellectual enterprise. So I say that to say as well that there are times, when other systems may call you more, and it can be a little more challenging because with Ifa and Orisa being so prominent, it can be hard to really connect with other systems, but know that we have ancestry from all over the continent as diasporic people. So we may have connections with spirits or with entities or with energies that are not Orisha per se. They may be from another place, and that's okay. And we have ways to at least identify that, right, to the extent that we can through divination and things like that. We're not always going to be able to identify exactly what spirit is there and exactly where it comes from, although we have great diviners, some of whom are able to do that. But even if we can't identify that specificity, it is very important to know that we can still have the connection. Again, even without the intellectual knowledge, we can have the deep spiritual connection still to that. Okay, so blessings to you, Epiphany. Good to see you. Camilla says, this is right on time. My son was just asking me about Ifa because he knows I study it and how it's different than the Christianity he's been raised in with his dad. Yes. Yeah, I knew what you meant, honey. I got you. Absolutely. It's, I would say one of the things that you can do, again, is to share the 101 video with him, and because I do talk about some of the differences between the systems, and as well, the ebook, I do some comparisons, in there. And there are other things that I'm working on to kind of draw those comparisons in more deeply, because I know that for many of us who are transitioning from one system to another, many of us who have been raised in Christianity, who are seeking to come into African spirituality, we may have even been taught that it's evil, right? That it's devilish, that it's, and we may have had all of these pejorative things that we may have learned about it. Some of us, I always say, honestly, that I was blessed to that the ground that I started on was neutral, right? There really wasn't, although I was raised in Christianity, I was never directly taught or told that African spirituality was bad. It was just non-existent. It wasn't something that was even ever talked about or discussed. So when I came into contact with it myself, I didn't really have to undo any negative thinking per se, but it's still, just because of the societal pressure to conform and to do what everyone else does, and because it's what most of us have been raised with, you feel, a way about trying to explore something that's different. And so, understand that. I understand that, right? And this is, again, why Spirit has led me to create these spaces to help welcome us in, to help us get started, to help you come in with an experience, right? As I said, it's about experience. So come in, experience the prayer, experience the meditation, see how you feel, and then the feeling can lead you towards, the intellectual enterprise, right? Because that's how it was for me, just to share a little bit of my journey with you, for those of you who may not have heard me speak about it before. It was becoming, I was a priestess before I was a scholar, right? I've always been a scholar my whole life, but when I say that, I mean that it was getting initiated into Ifa and into Orisa that led me then to want to study it, right? That led me then to want to go and get a PhD and, dig deeper into the systems and really have the chance to travel and to spend all of my time studying it. So it kind of, it was two birds. It was like, look, because I had already always said that if I was going to do a PhD, I'd have to do it about something that really was deeply important to me, right? Deeply personal, that I deeply cared about, because that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to do if it's not something that is really deeply in alignment with you. And that's why, unfortunately, a lot of people, for various reasons, because they're not able to follow what's truly in alignment with them. They don't have the best experiences with grad school or with, those kinds of things, because they're studying something that's really not as deep in their heart, And so for me, that really wasn't an option. I was like, it has to be something that's really deep for me to be able to go that route. And when I connected with Orisa, and when I, had my Odu revealed, and when I went through all of those processes, that was then what said, okay, this is what you're going to dedicate your life to studying, right? This is the path that you're going to go down. This is, where your destiny is. And so, in terms of just, understanding the way that things follow, again, that's why Spirit said to create a space to give an experience first, right? To just see how you feel when you're basking in that energy. When I'm singing for Shango, hey, Kabiesi, or Batala, or Oshun, or Ya, how do you feel, right, when you hear that? Give thanks, and opening yourself to that experience. Oh, blessings, Auntie Faye. Okay. Divinely Need, hey, blessings to you. I'm glad to hear that this is so on time. Queen May, welcome back. So another frequent question that I get, and that I kind of just touched on a little bit, but I'll touch a little bit more specifically for a moment, is why are there so many different forms of practice, not only of African spirituality more broadly, but also of Orisa practice more specifically. And as I said, there's billions of us, right? So even if we're all we could all make meatloaf, but each one's gonna taste slightly different. My hand's a little heavier with the garlic, your hand's a little heavier with the onion, or whatever the case may be, and it's gonna be a little bit different. So even traditionally speaking, right, on the continent, within Africa, within Yoruba culture, as we get smaller and smaller, there have always been differences and variations in practice. There's never been one way of practice, right? There's always been variations. There's always been lineage differences. There's always been, you say potato, I say potato. But again, understanding that the base of the energy is the same, and the base of the energy is what we're trying to get at. And so when we look at, even across systems, we see that even though how we do it may look different, we're all honoring our ancestors in some form or fashion. We're all engaging in music and dance, right, in some form or fashion. That's not something that's peripheral. That is a part of the way that we teach, the way that we learn, and the way that we worship, right? So regardless of how that sounds, whether it's Vodou music, whether it's Orisha music, whether it's Sunday morning music at church, that music and dance, particularly percussion, right, has always been an important part of how we practice. Even if it may look different, it's still underneath, the archetype is the same, right? We have bodily worship, we have call and response. Let me get somebody say amen, somebody say ashe, right? If I start a song and you finish, those are those are the archetypes, those are the deep threads that run through. So it might look a little different because we are each a little different, but it's all touching the same energy at base, okay? And so it's, to understand that is what's important, and that's where we can go with whatever kind of veneer, right, looks and feels the best to us, but understand that we're touching the same energy at the end of the day, okay? I see you, Carrie, saying that you're raised with your mother, who is a devout Catholic, and she didn't let your father, teach you about Orisha. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, and that's, many of our stories, right? That if we have some of our ancestors, because, and we have to give them grace. We have to understand that, for many people, the internalization, the programming really worked, right? Think about what the system, and this is not to denigrate Christianity, but this is just to talk about some of the historical, what it has been used to do. You were supposed to feel scared. You were supposed to feel bad, like you are a sinner, you're bad, you came to the world bad, you came with a stain and you need to be saved, right? That is the point of how we are supposed to feel as we come into this, that there's something for you to beg for forgiveness for, that although, it's said that, Jesus paid the price and these kinds of things, but the price still, there's this idea that you came in with a deficit, with a price that had to be paid, something you had to be saved from, and many people deeply internalize that, so we have to give grace and know that even when it has prevented us in some cases from connecting with our ancestral lineages, right, in some of the ways that we may have been cut off from them, we have to give grace and understand that those who were doing the cutting off were also going through their own struggles, right, and having their own fears and really trying to figure things out for themselves as well. And so that's how I console, even though we know how detrimental some of that has been to us. But it's still to give each other grace, and again to understand that there were a lot of processes, and the fact that we even still have our African spirituality at all is a miracle, right? So much has sought to separate us from this, which is our birthright, which is our ancestral way. It's not something that we have to earn. This is something else, a point that I want to make, because unfortunately, and as I explained in some of my other videos, there are historical reasons why we have had to hide our traditions in the past, and why we have had to create barriers. Literally, we created barriers to entry because our lives were on the line, right? So this is why, for instance, in the Lukumi practice in Cuba, there was created a 3-step system by which you get elekes, you then get warriors, and then you get initiated if that's to be your destiny. That system didn't exist traditionally in Isheshe practice, right? But that system was created for a reason and with purpose, because our ancestors in Cuba were practicing the tradition under duress. They were practicing it at the fear of death. The people who preserved these traditions, make no mistake, they were seeking to annihilate us and annihilate these traditions. And so the ways that our ancestors adapted them and hid and did this and did that and moved and stuck and moved, like, that's gangster. Like, we can never listen to me. We can never, ever, ever. That's why, I will never say that I'm pure Isheshe or pure any. There's no pure anything. Even Isheshe isn't pure Isheshe anymore, right? Because there are influences that have now crossed back over the waters, right? You see our people in Isheshe are using, porcelain dishes and European liquors. And I mean, we've always been, it's cosmopolitan, right? It's cosmopolitan. But understand, come on, right, Erica? Straight gangster. We did what we had to do. We like, all right, you want us to come over here? We gonna come over here, but we gonna be doing what we do while we over there, right? And blessings to you, brother Oshosi, right? We gonna do what we do while we over there. Like, oh, you want us to stand over here and say this? We're gonna say this, but we're gonna know that when we say this, we mean that. Right? Come on. That's gangster. That's doing what you got to do to preserve life. And the preservation of life is the most African thing there is. Everything. Blessings to you, King. Oh, Boato, right? Everything that we do, look, is to protect ours. Thank you, Keisha. Omomi. By any means. By any means. We protect what's ours. And so if we got to shape shift, right? Or Yah was a shapeshifter. She turned into a buffalo when she had to. You know what I'm saying? We always been shapeshifters because we understand that what's underneath is still the same, right? What's underneath is still the same. So we can never denigrate the changes that kept this system alive. We can never, right, speak ill of those who kept the system, right, for us to be able to learn about it now. We can never, I had to learn that. Trust me, I had to learn that. Listen to me carefully. I had to learn that lesson, and this is something that happened to me. So I was doing some spiritual ceremonies, misas and things, which you may know as misas, but spiritual, channeling ceremonies, connecting with the ancestors, etc. And I decided, and some of y'all have heard me tell this story, I decided that I was going to write a new prayer because I didn't want to say the Lord's Prayer, the traditional, the Lord's Prayer from the Bible anymore, right? And that I was going to write this new prayer and, disconnect from that. And when I tell you I got the of my life, when I sat down to do the ceremony, I got the biggest like, what are you doing? No. Understand that first of all, there's nothing, blessings to you, Omoya Monja, there's nothing in that prayer that is antithetical to anything that you're doing, A. And that's actually the B. The A is, the reason why you're saying this prayer is because it's the same prayer that so many of your ancestors did say, right? Whatever the processes were that brought them to saying it, many of my ancestors did say it. And so by saying those words, right, I'm connecting with them. We can't jump over. Sometimes, we're busy trying to jump to the ancient ancestors, and they are important and they have been very powerful. But we also have our recent, right, the last 7 generations for many of us, right? Those are the ancestors who were saying these prayers. Those are the ancestors that were singing some of the songs. This is my story, this is my song. Right? Some of those hymns and some of those spirituals. I know when I tell you my hoodoo ancestors, my ancestors of this land, my ancestors who have used the Bible as incantation, listen. When I tell you how strong they are, that when I sought to do that, they were like, no, you're going to keep these words and you're going to connect with us like that. When I tell you that they are the ones who bring my preaching cadence and all of that. And when I tell you how hard I fought it, I was like, wow, this is, I can't be, because that's not Orisa, that's not this. But they were like, of course it is. It's all connected through you, right? It's all connected in the crossroads that is us. Ooh, ashe, ashe, ashe. Kahisa has me teary-eyed to know what our ancestors had to face, and to be able to learn and practice this faith is such a blessing to me, being on this spiritual journey. So grateful. Ashe, ashe. Yeah, listen, we think, we got a problem because, and I'm not to say something, but I'm like, we think we really got a problem because we got scammed out of $20 or whatever might have happened, the types of things that go on today. Listen, this was life, very life that we were dealing with to preserve this, right? Whatever's going on right now, it ain't nothing compared to what our ancestors had to go through to preserve our systems and to come into our systems. So whatever little, hardships that we have to go through now, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing. And at the end of the day, it's going to bring you deeper, because it's going to say, well, I was so invested in that I was ready to invest my money. I was ready to invest my time. And even though I might have invested it in the wrong place the first time, and you ain't the only one, because I got stories, right? That doesn't mean that the path is not for me. It means that's going to give me even deeper resolve, right? It's going to give me even deeper resolve to be moving forward on the path, because I know how important this is to me. Blessings, Whitney, Nandi, Tanya. Yes, yes. Hey, Oboato, Ifa-Shola, good to see you. Yes, yes, yes. Telly, yes, gotta represent them, because they coded, our ancestors coded things in those prayers. Exactly. Like, I could say this, but I know what I mean when I say it. You can't control what I mean when I say it. You might can control what I say, but you can't control what I mean when I say it. Right? So that's that, and that is power. That is absolutely power. Ashe, yes, our ancestors are right here with us. Adupwe, adupwe, adupwe. So grateful, so grateful, so grateful. So there's a question that it also often comes up for us, or that I'm often asked, which is related to all of this, which is the very question, right, that's been going around quite a lot, is are tarot, crystals, Akashic records, etc., all these other modalities of connecting with spirit connected with Orisha or connected with African spirituality, right? And as so many things, it's a both and. So it's a no and a yes. And I said it in that order because I'm going to start with the no first. And some of you have heard me talk about this, right? The no is that on a historical level, right, there is not a direct connection between tarot and Orisha practice, right? We don't use tarot to mark Orisha. We don't use tarot to directly divine on Orisha or any of that type of thing, right? We don't use Akashic records to do that. We don't go into Orisha ceremony and say, okay, now I'm going to open up the Akashic records. We don't directly use crystals to do that. And notice I said directly. So that's the no. Like, the no is no. If somebody tells you they're about to mark your head Orisha and they pull out tarot cards, buzz. Right? If somebody tells you they're about to initiate you, and they're they're saying, oh, we're going to open the Akashic records. No, right? That's not how this works. Systems are systems, and everything is in its lane, right? Now, so that's the no. That's the no part. Okay? Understand that very clearly. The yes part is that spirit is spirit. Right? And as I just said, we are crossroads, right? We are crossroads of all of the spiritual experiences and things that we take in. So within us, yes, there can be convergence. There can be, so for example, I use myself as an example. I have been a reader of tarot since before I knew anything about Orisha. Right? That has been one of the modes through which I have connected with spirit, through which spirit has spoken to me, and all of that. And so now that knowledge and that connection is in me, right? And the connection to Orisha is in me, there are ways in which they can use one another to speak to me, right? And this is a personal thing, right? This is when we become the crossroads of different things. Now that there are certain things that I had to do with Akashic record practice, or Akashic field practice, I'll say even more than records, that then assisted me, hear me, right? And being able to do my Orisa practice more deeply, or being able to go more deeply into connecting with my spirit guides, right? So there are ways that these things can intersect within us. That doesn't mean that they are connected, independently speaking, right? And so understand that. And so that's why, like if you learn tarot from me, for example, there are certain cards that, to me, with my connection, with my knowledge, feeling, etc., connect to certain archetypal energies that we who practice Orisa may call by particular Orisa names, right? But understanding that what we're actually speaking about and connecting to is something bigger. When we're talking about Yemoja, for example, we're talking about the energy of the mothers. We're talking about the energy of nurturance. We're talking about the archetype of creation and birth. We're talking about the archetypes of resiliency and flow with water, right? So those are archetypes that can present themselves in a number of different ways, right? And so again, we can become crossroads just the same way, again, going back to our Hoodoo ancestors, the same way they were able to take biblical verses and make them into power incantations because they knew the associations they were making with the words they were saying. That doesn't mean that the Bible is that, right, or is connected to that directly, but it became connected within them when they became the crossroads where those two spirits connect, right? And so that is, a really important thing to understand, that we are the crossroads. We are the crossroads. So while again, there may not be historical connection, there may not be natural connection between these things on that level, when we embody them, we become a crossroad where they become connected. And similarly with crystals, understand, what is a crystal? A crystal is a rock. And what are Orisa shrines? They're rocks. The vast majority of them, right? Like, understand that traditionally the Eshu had to be made out of a particular type of stone. And all of our different shrines there's particular types of physical ingredients that have to be in them. So how can we then say crystals are now out in this whole other category by themselves? No, it's they're rocks, it's earth, right? That's exactly what everything is connected to. The minerals, the Efun, all of those, they're minerals, right? It's all connected. That doesn't mean though, right? Again, that doesn't mean that when I get ready to do an Orisa initiation, I'm going to pull out clear quartz and start, doing all of that, you know what I mean? And make that no, because there are systems and there are things that have been put into place about how certain systems are meant to work and what ways that we've come to do them, but also understand that those things can change and have changed over time. And so that's why I started with the first point that I started with, which is really understanding that all of this is about connecting with spirit. Our ancestors did what worked. Listen to what they said. There's a proverb that says, if an Orisa doesn't work for you, throw it into the bush. There's a proverb that says that. Right? And so it says that, look, we use what works. We're not attached to this because I call it Orisa, that I'm just gonna, slavishly attach myself to it no matter what it's doing for me, no matter what it's not doing for me. No, they say we use what works. We do what works. If something's not working for you, you throw it away and you find something that does work for you, right? That is that's our ancestral knowledge. That's what they say. They don't say just devote yourself, keep doing this no matter what's happening. No, they say look at the results. And if it's not working for you, do something else. Right? So that's a big tenet in African spirituality. And that's a part of what draws us into it, many of us, because for many of us, we didn't feel what we were looking to feel and what we felt we needed to feel with whatever other practices we may have been in, right? So that's our spirit seeking what's going to help us feel what we need to feel, what's going to help us move through life in the way that we need to move through life. So it's no coincidence that so many of us are being drawn to our ancestral spiritualities right now, right? It's a time for it. It's the time. It's the time. It's the time. They're calling. They're opening us. They're saying, it's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. It's time. Stop. It's time. Okay? So, Ashe, 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 Ashe. Faye says, I saw a definition that defined ancestral veneration as raising the dead. Will you comment on that? Raising the dead, I don't know that I would necessarily call it that. I would say that, because, there's just such connotations with raising, like that gives you zombie vibes or something. That's not, our raising in terms of elevation. Perhaps, elevating, helping to elevate their spirits, helping to be elevated through them. But no, I don't know that I would use that terminology. I would use it, we are continuing our relationship with them. Like, that's really the base of it. Everything about African spirituality is relationships. When we get initiated, we're creating a relationship. When we, receive any beads or shrines, we're creating relationships, not only between ourselves, but also between, not only between ourselves and the spirits, rather, but also between us and other human beings, right? Anybody that we receive ceremony from, even if, life happens and human things happen and we no longer feel connected to that person on the human level, we still have a spiritual connection to that person, right? And so everything is about connection. So with our ancestors, our ancestral veneration, for me, is continuing the practice, continuing the relationship, continuing the connection. Now, if one wants to refer to that as raising, I don't know, that's not a word I would use, but, definitely continuing the connection, helping them to continue feeling a part of the family. Traditionally, we didn't have cemeteries, right? We would bury our loved ones in the house. Like, we would literally cut open the floor. The floors were dirt in many cases anyway. Open the floor, bury the ancestors in the house. Still there, right? They're still there with us to still be a part of things. And so, that is, that's what we're doing. We're continuing the relationship. So thank you for that question. Imani says that West African dance and Orisha Palo dance have been her spiritual connections. There's no live local classes during COVID. How do we repair the spiritual connection? Is the dance important? Yes, I know this is something that a lot of people have been facing. Thank you very much for mentioning this. And well, first of all, if you heard me a little earlier, definitely singing and dance are very, very, very important. Being together is very important. So COVID has absolutely put a big damper on us even being able to be together. And so it is, it's hard for us to practice in isolation. This is not, as I always say, lone witchery is not really what Orisha is about. Not there may be a place for that, but that's not Ifa, that's not Orisha. Like Ifa and Orisha, all African spiritual traditions are communal traditions. There's nothing that can be done certain things, of course, we are able to do solitarily, but nothing major can be done solitarily. No initiation, no big ceremony, none of that can be done without other people. And so, and I know that for many of us, the movement of the body is what connects us. And so the beautiful thing is that there are folks who, although I know it is not exactly the same, I always say, and I always say this, that while this virtual thing may be virtual in one sense, there's another sense in which it is very physical, because right now my voice, my vocal vibrations are vibrating your inner ear. That means that I'm touching you and we're together physically, right? In a way that we don't even really recognize or appreciate. And so I say that to say there are several communities that have been offering online, dance classes, drumming, Kire Wellness. Blessings and shout out to Baba Oludare, my sister Ashade Bomombo. She's also offers Vodou and other types of dance classes online. There's a number of communities that are offering these classes online where you can partake and still get that bodily movement in, hear those drum vibrations and connect. Oh, hey, I see Sister Nandi saying that Tampa, they're starting back tomorrow night at Copeland Park. All right, shout out to those who are in Tampa. I know Betsy's saying she misses dancing in community. Look, I miss it. Look, but I mean, even besides the classes, listen, Iya love to just get down. I'm a house party person. I'm somebody who invite people over in a minute. Crank up this bass. You already know how I get down. So I love it. I love my line dances. I be electric sliding and wobbling and all of that. I love that because that's ancestral. That's what we do. So I miss all of that too. And I'm really looking forward to being able to be together again. Although, yes, Susanna, right? I'm with you right now. So we're together. But we have to, one of the things is that we have to be able to make the best of every situation and to adapt in the ways that we need to adapt. And I know it's not ideal. Trust me. This is why Spirit has led me to just reach out so much. I have been doing it already, but in the past 2 years, so much more because I'm a people person and not being around people. Okay, these earrings are trying to not let me be great. Being around people is one of the things that empowers me. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel connected. It makes me feel, wonderful. And so it's very, very difficult for me to not be as much around people, to not, just be able to walk up and give you a hug and, without any hesitation, because that's the type of person that I am. It does. We have been affected. And so it's important for us to recognize how we've been affected and also lean in to everything that we have. And also don't discount the importance of just cranking up that music yourself when you in your crib, you know what I'm saying? And just getting your dance on, like just really embodying that energy, because I'll tell you, that's what I be doing, and that's what gets me like all the hype energy you see me with. That's me in my room in the morning like Pastor get it, another day, right? Doing all of that. And so, don't discount the importance of doing that with yourself as well and really keeping that energy up, as well. Joanna says, yes, I catch myself having social anxiety because of everything that has happened. I know it's hard. It's hard. And, especially those of us who are extroverts, and I'm an extreme, ENFJA, I'm type A, all the extroverted everything, that's me. And so, I having anxiety about being out around people is a new thing. Some people had already felt that even before this, but for me, that was never a thing. And so, it can be, we have to be gentle with ourselves. We have to give ourselves grace. Nandi said, yes, blasting that music by yourself is the best. No, you got to do it. Because as you move and as you embody, right? That's also how you connect, especially if you're doing movements that your ancestors did. When I do that Yan Valu, that spinal serpentine motion, it's like I can feel all my ancestors with me doing that. It's like this is a motion that they did. These are words that they said. These are steps that they took, right? It always it brings me into connection. Yeah, Jean says it was not a thing for you. I know it wasn't a thing for me either. And it's hard to feel that now. But, I try to let go of it as much as I can. Hey, Denise, got your dance on last night. Ashe, love to hear that. Was there any other ones? So 2 things I'm going to say. People always ask me about books. Of course, the books that are in the Ase Ire shop, Orisha, New World, Black Gods, that's usually my go-to recommendation for getting started, okay? There's also, on a more personal level, 2 books that I recommend. The Ishe She Workbook by our Ifa-Orisa Kumari. It's a great book to, really get into, again, some of the personal connection. And that's what these 2 books that I'm about to recommend are for. And then there's another book called Finding Soul on the Path of Orisa by Tobe Corial. And, as I always say, anytime I recommend these books, that doesn't mean that I think every single thing that's in them is the gospel. But what I do believe is that they give us good points of beginning to have a personal connection with spirit. Those 2 in particular are books that concentrate us more on our personal experiences, our personal connections, building connections with our ancestors, building those personal connections with the forces of nature, which is, what this practice really is all about. And so that's those 2 in particular I like for that. And again, Orisha New World Black Gods, which is available in the Ase Ire shop. Very much recommend that one. Sunday says, so grateful for those books. Very informative. Good. I'm glad you enjoyed them. Kim said, Finding Soul really resonated with me. Yeah, me too. Telly, that's a good book, Finding Soul. Yes, I really appreciated it. Again, I don't agree with every single thing that's said in terms of necessarily, cosmology and what have you, but the ways that we are encouraged to connect into ourselves. Carrie mentioned Jambalaya. Of course, we know that's a classic. Anybody who hasn't read Jambalaya, I definitely encourage you to. Imani says dancing helps release tension and anxiety, increasing circulation and respiration. Yes, so got to take care of our bodies. These are our temples. Ara, A-R-A. That's how you say body. Body is the temple. So our dancing, our movement is a big part of how we take care of that. Oh, Rachel said Finding Soul made me cry. It probably made me cry too. Y'all know I be crying. So yeah, because really, again, speaking about the personal connection, and that is what is the part for us, right? Is really connecting back with our ancestors, connecting with ourselves. That's why so much Ori work, everything you need, you gotta ask your Ori, and that's no mistake or coincidence. That is our ancestors understanding that mindset is everything. And if we are not able to change our mindset, if we're not able to control ourselves and keep our minds in a good state, there's, that's the key to everything. That's the key to everything. We're drawing up on the hour. I don't know if there's any other burning question. I did see a question about the Akashic Records I was looking for. I'm not going to get so into that because that's not my area of speciality. I will advise you, there's one of my dear sisters, Dr. Latoya Davis, who does a matter of fact, I think it just passed, but she's going to have another one. She does work on the Akashic Records over at Chi Healing Institute, Latoya Davis. And so if you came to the Black Spirit Solstice Summit, she actually gave an intro to the Akashic Records during that. So you can check that out in the Communiversity, on the Communiversity site at learn.aseire.com. You could get access to that. If you're new to the family, I want to invite you over to aseire.com to visit with me over there and to, connect deeper in with the family, join the mailing list, get my ebook, connect with the prayer that we say each week. That's a beautiful first way to get connected with the experience. I want to invite you to join us tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. and every Monday on Clubhouse. Go ahead and follow me at Iya Funlayo if you're not already following me. And I will invite you, those of you who are here right now, to text Sunday 3 to my number 917-634-4680, and 2 of you are going to receive something special. So text Sunday 3. That's going to let me know you're here today. So even if you've already texted me before, text Sunday 3 right now, and that's going to let me know that you are here. And actually, let me just add this keyword so that I can get you right. And yes, let me know that you were here today. And 2 of you are gonna get something special. All right, I see you. I like it when you follow instructions. I see it coming through. Make sure you put it all together just like that. Just Sunday 3. All right, and bow. That's going to let me know that you were with me today. And like I said, 2 of you are going to get something special courtesy of my sister, Iya Chinaka, over at Simple Prayer, which many of you are familiar with. So there's some goodies that she gave to share with the family, and you know I love nothing more than sharing with you. If you have enjoyed yourself today, if you've had a good time and you feel so moved, you are lovingly welcome to participate in the ministry of giving. You can send your love offerings via the website at aseire.com, also via Cash App, $Funlayo, at FunlayoW, or at Ase Ire on Venmo. And as always, I pray for it to multiply and return to you. Just return to you so bountifully and wonderfully. Remember though, as I always say, that your most important gift, the most valuable thing that you have, is not your money, but it's your time, your energy, and your attention. And so I pray, oh, beautiful, Kaninye, beautiful. I'm glad you're enjoying the book. I pray that you only spend your time, your energy, and your attention in those places and with those people that bring you all the goodness. Hey, Iya, Baba Miwa, I was just talking about you. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Hey, Ajay is using her Ase Ire mug right now. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. Oh, yes, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. So grateful. Ashe, Ashe. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Please only be with those people and in those places that bring you good energy, that bring you love, that bring you life, that bring you joy, that bring you all of the goodness. And that's what we always seek to bring you here at Ase Ire. Y'all go ahead and be great. Go ahead and be wonderful. I'm going to look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning and being with you. Hey, remember, we're family. Remember, I got so much love for you. I appreciate all the love you have for me. Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. Don't forget to text Sunday 3 to 917-634-4680 so I know that you were here today. You're all so welcome. Go have a beautiful rest of your weekend. Share this video with somebody who needs to see it. And remember that you can also join us and ask questions, give your testimonials, and let me hear your voice tomorrow and Wednesday on Clubhouse. Odabo.